Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to the VUS Learning English podcast. My name is Anna. I am so happy you are here with me today. If this is your first time, welcome. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. I am always so grateful to have you here. Today, we have a very special topic. A topic that is close to my heart. It is about learning English in a new way. A way that feels good. A way that feels happy and easy. So many of us feel stuck when we learn a language. We feel like we are not making progress. Today, I want to show you a simple habit. A habit that can change everything for you. It is a secret that happy learners know. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me. It means the world. If you enjoy our time together, please think about following or subscribing to this podcast. It helps other learners just like you find our little community. And I love to know where you're listening from. Are you in the United States, Philippines, Nigeria, Indonesia? Please tell me in the comments. I love to read about your homes. Okay, are you ready? Let's begin. I want you to think about your English journey. How does it feel? Maybe you have a problem, a speaking problem. You want to say something. The words are in your head, but they do not come out of your mouth. It feels like a door is locked, and you cannot find the key. Or maybe you have a memory problem. You learn a new word. You feel happy. You think, I know this word now. But the next day, the word is gone. It vanished, like a little cloud in the sky. It is so frustrating, I know. For many years, you try so hard. You use flashcards, so many flashcards. You try to talk to people, but the conversations feel difficult. They feel awkward. You do grammar exercises, so many rules to remember, and still you feel stuck. You are on a flat road. The road is long and you are not moving forward. You believe you need to try harder. You think, I must speak more. I must memorize more. Then it will work. But what if I told you something different? What if the real problem is not speaking? What if the real problem is not your memory? What if the real problem is something you do not see? There is one special habit. This habit separates the learners who become fluent from the learners who stay stuck. It is a habit I found when I felt lost. It changed my whole language journey. It made learning feel easy, almost automatic, like breathing. This is not about being special. You do not need a special talent for languages. You do not need to move to another country. And you do not need to study harder. No, it is about changing how you learn. In our time together today, I will show you this habit. It is a simple reading habit. I will explain the science. I will tell you why it works so well. And I will give you easy steps to start today. This is the key you have been looking for. It will unlock the fluent English you want. Imagine this. You have spent months learning English. Maybe you have spent years. You downloaded the apps on your phone. You bought the textbooks. Maybe you even tried to talk to native speakers. You did everything right. And then the moment comes, the moment to use English. And your mind is empty. It is white, like a piece of paper. You cannot find the words. Your grammar is a mess. You say the same simple sentences, the same sentences you learned in your first week. It feels like you are hitting a wall, a big, strong wall, and you cannot break it. People give you advice. They say, just speak more. Be brave. Talk to people. But this idea, this focus on speaking, it is the reason you feel so stuck. You think the problem is your output. Output is speaking and writing. But the real problem is your input. Input is listening and reading. You have a big, big lack of input. Input that you enjoy. Input that you can understand. Imagine a sponge. A sponge is dry. You're trying to squeeze water from this dry sponge. But there is no water. Today, we are going to put that sponge in water. We are going to soak that sponge. For many, many years, language education had one idea, a production-first idea. Production means speaking and writing. This idea says you must practice speaking to be fluent. You must do grammar drills. Your teacher asked you a question in class. You feel nervous. Your app makes you write a strange sentence, a sentence you will never use in real life. You are told that making mistakes is good, but then people correct your mistakes all the time. This creates a feeling of worry, a small, constant anxiety about speaking. It seems to make sense, right? If you want to play the piano, you practice the piano. So if you want to speak a language, you must practice speaking. This is wrong. It is a big misunderstanding. It keeps so many good learners feeling trapped. Learning a language is not like playing an instrument. It is not a physical skill. It is not about muscle memory. Language is something we get in our minds. We get it without trying. We acquire it. We do this by understanding messages. You are not failing. You are not lazy. You are not practicing speaking too little. You are struggling because your brain does not have the food it needs. The food it needs to build a language. And that food is input. Lots and lots of input that you can understand. Think about a small child. How does a baby learn their first language? A baby is surrounded by language for thousands of hours. They do not speak for a long time. They just listen. They absorb like a sponge. They connect words to things. They connect words to feelings. No parent gives their 2-year-old child a grammar lesson. No parent says, "Today we learned the past participle." No. The child acquires the language naturally, without stress, without study. The language grows inside their mind, slowly, quietly. And then, when they are ready, they start to speak. Their speaking is a result. It is the result of all the listening. It is not the cause of their learning. Now think about an adult learner. Think about you. From the first day, you must speak. You must produce. You learn 10 new words, and you are expected to use them in a sentence. You learn a difficult grammar rule, and then you have a test on it. A famous linguist is named Krashen. He says this is a skill-building way to learn, but his research shows something powerful. Our brains do not work this way. Our brains do not acquire language this way. It is too hard to remember a grammar rule in a real conversation. Think about it. You have to think of your idea. You have to remember the grammar rule. You have to find the right words. You have to put them in the right order. And you have to do this in 1 second. It is too much work for your brain. It creates a huge cognitive load. That is why we freeze. That is why our minds go blank. The real problem is the input deficit. A deficit means not enough of something. Your brain is a beautiful machine. It is amazing at finding patterns, but it needs data. It needs a lot of data. To learn grammar, you do not need to memorize rules. You need to see the grammar patterns. You need to see them used in real sentences. Hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times. To build a big vocabulary, you do not need to study flashcards for hours. You need to see words again and again, in different stories, in different situations. Then, the words become a part of you. When you try to speak without this big library in your mind, you are asking your brain to make something from nothing. It is like trying to write a book. After reading only one short story, you do not have the materials. This is why you translate in your head. This is why your speaking is slow. This is why you make the same mistakes. You have not built the feeling for the language, the feeling of what sounds right. You have not heard and seen what is right enough times. The answer is not to speak more. The answer is to feed your brain. Give your brain the food it needs. I want to share a personal story with you. Maybe this story will feel familiar. Many years ago, I was in university. I was studying linguistics, the study of language. But I was failing to learn a language. I was failing to learn Japanese. Isn't that funny? I was studying languages, but I could not learn one. I did everything from the textbook. I went to every class. I filled notebooks with grammar rules. I spent hours and hours with flashcard apps. I memorized thousands of Japanese words and characters. My conscious knowledge of Japanese grammar was very good. I could explain difficult rules. I could look at a sentence and explain every part. But when I tried to speak to a native speaker, it was a disaster. A friend introduced me to a student from Japan. This was my big test. She asked me a simple question. Something like, "Where are you from?" And my brain stopped working. All the grammar rules, all the vocabulary words, they created a traffic jam in my head. I was trying so hard to remember the right way to make a sentence. I was trying to remember the right verb form. It was so slow. By the time I had a perfect sentence in my head, the conversation was over. She was talking to someone else. I felt so bad, so defeated. I had all these facts about Japanese in my head, but I could not use Japanese. My breaking point came later. I was on a study trip in Madrid, in Spain. I studied Spanish in high school. I used the same methods, studying grammar rules, memorizing lists of words, and my Spanish was also useless. One hot afternoon, I was walking in the city. I found a small bookstore. It was a secondhand bookstore. The books were old. It smelled like old paper and dust. I loved that smell. The owner was an old man. His name was Carlos. He gave me a kind smile. In a corner of the shop, I saw some books. They looked like children's books. I was bored, so I picked one up. It was a simple story about a dog. The dog was lost in the big city. I started to read it, and something wonderful happened. I understood most of it. Not every single word, but I could follow the story. I could feel what the dog was feeling. I was not studying. I was not translating in my head. I was just reading. I bought 3 of those small books. That night, in my room, I did not open my grammar textbook. I read one of the stories. And then I read another story the next day. I loved it. I wanted more. I found other easy books. They are called graded readers. They are special books for language learners. I read simple stories. Then I read a book for young adults. For the first time, I was not studying Spanish. I was living in Spanish. I was lost in stories, just for fun, for the pure joy of it. I did not look up every new word in the dictionary. I did not stop to think about grammar. I just read and read and read. Over the next few weeks, something amazing started to happen. I started to understand people on the street. Just little pieces of conversations. The language felt less strange, less foreign. One day I went back to the little bookstore. Carlos, the owner, was there. He asked me about the book in my hand. And without thinking, without planning, a sentence came out of my mouth in Spanish. It was not a perfect sentence. I am sure I made mistakes. But it was a real sentence, a spontaneous sentence. We had a conversation, a simple 5-minute conversation. I left that bookstore feeling like I was in a dream. It felt like a miracle. The words did not come from the grammar part of my brain. They came from somewhere else, somewhere deeper. The hundreds of hours I spent reading, lost in those simple stories, they built something inside my mind, a new foundation for Spanish. The grammar I tried so hard to memorize. Now it was a feeling. I started to feel what was correct. That was my big realization. The problem was never my mouth. The problem was never my ability to speak. The problem was my brain had nothing to work with. It did not have the language inside it yet. Giving my brain lots of enjoyable, easy stories was the answer. It was the key. What happened to me was not magic. It was science. It was brain science. The method I found is called extensive reading. Extensive means a lot. It is maybe the most powerful way to learn a language. Many studies show this. It is based on Stephen Krashen's idea. His idea is called the comprehension hypothesis. It is a simple idea. It says we learn a language in only one way. We learn by understanding what we read and by understanding what we hear. That is it. Let's talk more about this. Understanding why it works will help you do it. First, there are two kinds of reading. One is called intensive reading. Intensive means deep and focused. This is what you do in a language class. You take a short text, a difficult text, and you study it very carefully. You look up every word. You analyze every sentence. It is slow. It is hard work. The other kind of reading is extensive reading. This is the opposite. The goal is not to study. The goal is to absorb, to take in the language like a sponge. You read a lot, large amounts of text, and the text must be easy and enjoyable. You focus on the meaning of the story. There is a very important rule here. Some researchers call it the 98% rule. This means you should understand about 98% of the words on a page. This means there is only one new word, or maybe 2 new words per page. This sounds strange to many learners. You think you need to challenge yourself. You think you need to read difficult things. But that is not true for this method. This is the secret ingredient. This is the magic. When a text is this easy, you are not struggling. You are not stopping to translate in your head. You can read smoothly. You are in a state of flow. This lets your brain do its best work. Your brain finds patterns. It does this automatically without you trying. You see the same words and grammar many, many times in different sentences, in different stories. This is how words move into your long-term memory. They move from your passive vocabulary, words you can recognize, to your active vocabulary, words you can use. Research shows you need to see a new word many times, maybe 7 to 15 times, before it becomes your word. Extensive reading does this for you. Naturally, you are not memorizing a list. You are acquiring a language. This is also how you truly learn grammar. You do not need to memorize a rule. For example, this verb needs this preposition. Instead, you just read hundreds of sentences. Sentences where this pattern is used correctly. Your brain learns the pattern. It internalizes the structure. You do not even have to think about it. You start to get a feeling, a gut feeling for what sounds right. This feeling is fluency. So what should you read? Anything you can understand is good, but some research shows that fiction is better. Fiction means stories, novels, short stories. Reading stories can be better for your speaking skills than reading nonfiction. Nonfiction is about facts and information. Why are stories so special? Because stories are like pretend life. They are simulations of life. When you read a story, your brain does more than just see words. Your brain pretends the story is happening to you. It simulates the events, the feelings, the sights and sounds. And now we get to the cool brain science. When you are lost in a good story, your brain is happy. Your brain releases special chemicals. These chemicals help you learn. First, you get dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. Because you're enjoying the story, your brain gives you a little bit of dopamine. It feels good. It is a reward. This makes you want to do it again. It makes you want to read more. This is why reading for fun feels so easy and studying feels so hard. There's another chemical. It is called oxytocin. This is the bonding hormone, the love hormone. When you feel a connection to characters in a story, when you feel empathy for them, your brain releases oxytocin. This makes the story more memorable. It also creates a positive, emotional feeling with the language. You start to love the language itself. Brain scans show that stories light up your whole brain, not just the language parts. When a character in a story is running, the part of your brain for running becomes active. Your motor cortex lights up. It is like you are running. This deep connection embeds the language in your brain. It makes the learning much stronger, much deeper. There is a name for this process. It is called neural coupling. Neural means related to the brain. Coupling means connecting. As you read, your brain activity connects with the storyteller's brain activity. You are experiencing the story together. So let's put it all together. The goal is to get lots and lots of input you can understand. The best way to do this is extensive reading. Reading easy and fun material. Material where you understand 98% of the words. Stories are very powerful. They connect to your emotions. They give your brain dopamine and oxytocin. These chemicals help you remember and stay motivated. You are hacking your brain. You are helping your brain learn a language in the way it was designed to learn. Knowing the science is good, but doing it is what matters. This is not just about reading more. It is about reading in a smart, strategic way. Here is the simple 6-step habit. This habit will build a deep foundation for your fluency. Step 1. Choose material at your level. This is the most important step. Everything depends on this. The material must be easy, and it must be interesting to you. We are not here to struggle. We are here to enjoy. We are here to consume huge amounts of language. Remember the 98% rule. No more than 1 or 2 new words on a page. If you open a book and you see 5 new words on the first page, it is too hard. Put the book down, find an easier one. Your ego might not like this. Your ego is the part of you that wants to be the best. You might think, I am an intermediate learner. I should not read books for children. Please let go of this feeling. It is better to read something too easy than something too hard. When you struggle, you lose your motivation. You fall out of that beautiful state of flow. So, what can you read? For beginners at level A1 or A2, start with graded readers. These are special books for learners. They are written at specific levels. You can find them for almost any language and in any style: mystery, romance, adventure. For intermediate learners at level B1 or B2, you can use higher level graded readers, or you can try authentic material. Authentic means it is not made for learners. It is for native speakers. You can try books for young adults. A book series like Harry Potter can be great. Maybe you already know the story in your own language. This makes it much easier to understand. The most important thing is to be honest with yourself. If it feels hard, if it feels like work, find something easier. Step 2. Use context clues first. Before you read the first sentence, be a detective. Look at the cover of the book. Read the title. Read the chapter names. Read the summary on the back of the book. This prepares your brain. It gives your brain a map of the story. You start to guess what will happen. This makes the reading easier from the very start. It also trains you to guess the meaning of new words. This is a very important skill. Fluent readers do this all the time. Step 3. Read through without stopping. Now, it is time to read. The rule is very simple, but you must follow it. When you start a chapter, finish the chapter. Finish it in one session, and do not stop. Do not stop to look up words in your dictionary. Do not stop to analyze a sentence. Your only job is to keep reading. Follow the main story. Keep your eyes moving forward. This will feel strange at first. The perfectionist inside you will want to stop. It will scream, "Look up that word." Ignore that voice. Let it go. Stopping breaks your flow. It breaks your immersion. It switches your brain from learning mode back to studying mode. Trust this process. If a word is important, the writer will use it again and again. You will have more chances to understand its meaning from the context. Try to read every day, even just for 15 minutes. A little bit every day is better than a lot on one day. Step 4. Pause and summarize. You finished the chapter. Wonderful. Now close the book. Take just 1 minute. Think about what you just read. Ask yourself some questions. What happened in this chapter? Who were the characters? What do I think will happen next? You can think in English if you can, or you can think in your native language. That is okay too. This simple step checks if you understood the story. It makes the memory of the story stronger. Step 5, reread and use a dictionary a little bit. Now, read the same chapter again for a second time. This second time will feel very different. You already know what happens, so your brain is free. It is free to notice the small things, the specific words, the way sentences are built. Now is the only time you can use a dictionary, but there is a strict rule, a very important rule. Only look up a word if you have seen it many times, and you still cannot guess what it means, and you feel it is a very important word for the story. This helps you focus on important, common words. You are not wasting energy on words you will not see again. When you look up a word, write down the whole sentence, the sentence from the book. Context is everything. Seeing the word in a full sentence helps you remember it. Step 6. Continue to the next chapter. That is it. You have finished the cycle. Now, the most important step of all, do it again. Move on to the next chapter and do the same 6 steps. The power of this method is volume and consistency. Doing it for weeks and months. Every chapter you read is one more brick. You are building a strong house for your English fluency. This is not about hard, painful study. It is about getting lost in a good story and letting your wonderful brain do the hard work for you. Starting this new habit is exciting, but you will have some challenges. Let's talk about them. It is always good to be prepared. The first challenge is the strong feeling that you must translate everything. You read an English word, and your brain immediately finds the word in your language. This is normal. Your brain is used to doing this, but it is very slow, and it stops you from thinking in English. How can you fix this? First, check your reading material. If you are translating all the time, the book is probably too hard. Find an easier one. Second, try to stop the translation habit by using pictures. When you read the word tree, do not think of the word in your language. Instead, make a picture of a tree in your mind. When you read, "The dog ran," make a little movie of a running dog in your mind. This builds a direct connection, a connection between the English word and its meaning. The second challenge is finding the motivation to continue. Life is busy, I know. The answer is to start very, very small. Do not promise to read for 1 hour every day. That is too big. Promise to read for just 10 minutes. Everyone can find 10 minutes. Connect your new reading habit to an old habit. For example, I will read for 10 minutes while I drink my morning coffee. This is called habit stacking. It is very powerful. A 10-minute habit every day is much better than a long session once a week. You can also track your progress. Make a calendar. Put a star on every day you read. Seeing the chain of stars grow is very motivating. The third challenge is a feeling of guilt, a feeling that you are not really studying. Because this method is fun, some people feel it is not working. They think, learning must be hard. This is too enjoyable. I should be struggling more. You must fight this feeling. This feeling is wrong. Remind yourself of the science. Your brain learns best when it is happy, when it is relaxed and interested. That feeling of enjoyment is a good sign. It is a sign that your brain is ready to learn. It is a sign your brain is getting all those happy chemicals. Trust the process. The results will not happen in one day, but they will happen, and they will be amazing. When you feel that guilt, say hello to it, and then say goodbye. It is just a ghost, the ghost of an old bad way of learning. Then you can smile and happily turn the page and get back to your wonderful story. The journey to fluency is not a fight. You do not win by using force. It is not about punishing yourself with grammar drills. Real fluency is a natural thing. It is the result of a deep, comfortable feeling for a language. And the best way to get this feeling is by reading. The simple, joyful habit of extensive reading. By giving your brain a constant diet of good stories. You are not just studying English, you are building a new world inside your mind. You are learning vocabulary and grammar naturally through the simple pleasure of a good story. This is the secret that all happy language learners discover. Real learning happens when you are lost in the message. You are so focused on the story that you forget you're learning a language. So, my friend, I invite you to try. Pick up that easy book. Let go of the struggle. Let go of the stress. And start reading your way to fluency. You can do it. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel ready to start this new adventure. Remember, learning is a journey. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Every page you read is a step forward. If this episode helped you, please consider leaving a comment or a like. It helps our podcast grow, and it brings more friends into our learning family. Thank you again for your time and your trust. It means so much to me. See you next time, my friend.